Okay, so thank you again, everyone, so much for joining us. This is our webinar on nailing down e-commerce success in DIY and home improvement. I'm really looking forward to exploring this topic of e-commerce and discussing 5 simple ways to optimize your online shop. I hope you're looking just as much forward to it as I am. So just to start us off with a brief introduction, my name is Jessica Harding. I'm the online marketing coordinator here at FactFinder, and I'll be acting as moderator today. With me, we have Gordon. We're very excited to have you here today, Gordon. So good afternoon.
Hi there, Jessica. Thanks very much for having me here today. And thank you, everybody, for joining this webinar. Basically, I'm the e-commerce solution specialist. I'm going to be taking you through the webinar today. As Jessica said before, please feel free to ask any questions. You'll find the question chat box in the top right-hand corner of your screen. We will try and answer as many of them as possible at the end of today's session, but any questions that we can't answer on today's session, I will be getting back to you personally with the answers, so please feel free to fire away.
Okay, thank you, Gordon. We're really grateful to have you here. So, what is FactFinder? FactFinder is Europe's leading conversion engine. We are a search and navigation optimization solution with over 18 years of experience, which makes us the market leader across Europe. FactFinder has already been implemented in over 1,600 online shops. We have many clients in DIY, home improvement, and gardening, but that's not all. We work across verticals, so everything from fashion to groceries, pharmacies to B2B suppliers. We have new names coming on board every single day. So before we get on into it, I'd like to do a quick survey. You should see it pop up on your screen. So on a scale of 1 to 5, how satisfied would you say you are with the overall performance of your online shop? So 1 being not at all satisfied and 5 being very satisfied. So this is everything from your conversion rate, traffic, customer experience, all of that together. So we'll wait a couple of moments so that you have the opportunity to respond.
Yeah, this is really important, Jessica, because it gives us an idea of really where people feel that they are in the world of online e-commerce and DIY and home improvement. So it would be really, really great to get people's insights here.
Okay, so we have our results. Let's pull those on up. Okay, so the majority of people said 3, so they're more or less satisfied with the performance of their online shop. What do you think of these results?
Well, I mean, it's definitely a mixed bag there. With the majority at 3, it's kind of what I would like to see. It's people saying that okay, they're pretty solid, they're happy with what they're doing, but there is room for improvement. And I think the results there show that there's only 8% there saying that they're very satisfied. Which, well done, you guys, and I hope that you can take some tips to even drive yourself further from this. But for the majority of guys, we're going to look at insights today into the online world in B2B and home improvement, DIY, gardening, just to make sure that you've got ways of pushing yourselves forward. And it's important. It makes us take a look at the marketplace. So why did we decide to focus on this particular vertical today? To do that, we should take a look at what the market looks like as a whole. Jessica, you probably know, and I'm sure that most of our participants know today, that e-commerce is becoming accepted as a norm. It's everywhere now, and at this point, 75% of adults in the UK are admitting to making regular online purchases. Now, the DIY segment has responded to that, so they're now seeing more than half of home and garden businesses have got online shops as well as the traditional bricks and mortar model, so they're omni-channel. So that's great to see people responding to it, and it's so crucial when you look at how the market is developing in DIY, home improvement and gardening. At the moment, we're seeing growth rates in the e-commerce side of DIY and home improvement growing 6 times faster than the traditional bricks and mortar business. So that's an enormous market and great growth to go after in the online space.
Yeah, wow. I mean, I knew it was growing, but that really puts it into perspective, I think. So, Gordon, with all this online competition growing, how can brands distinguish themselves to achieve maximum sales growth?
Well, that's the question that we wanted to answer, and that's why we reached out to a lot of retailers within the online DIY home improvement and gardening spaces. We reached out to them. We also did a lot of market research, and we came across challenges that were faced across the board. So these were challenges that everybody was reporting that they were coming up against, but they also told us a little bit about the solutions that they had deployed, and we found out a lot about solutions that were deployed to fix these challenges, to really push themselves forward. So that's what we're going to go into in a bit more detail today.
Okay, great. So that brings us to our first challenge reported to us by retailers: conveying category expertise. You may be the expert in your category, but how can potential customers know that?
Well, yeah. I mean, this is, I think, especially important in DIY and home improvement, because the bricks and mortar model is so well established, and people really appreciate the advice that they get when they go into stores, especially when it's a purchase that maybe they're not so sure about, when they're maybe first-time buyers, etc. And Martin Gilmore from ESE Direct, he's summed this up really, really well. We're experts, but it can be hard to distinguish the offering from competitors and get across our expertise. So it's really crucial to be able to shift that in-store atmosphere, that sort of welcoming environment that's there for customers, to the online market, and break down the barriers there. And it shows, because 77% of people still prefer to buy tools and hardware in store. So it shows that there's still a real desire for that interactive advice. So how do we bring that online? I wanted to give you an example of this from my own personal life. Jessica, you know that myself and my partner have just moved into a house, and for the first time in my life, I've actually got a garden, which is wonderful. But I started thinking about, well, what do I want to do with the garden now that the summer's coming up? And one of the things I'm really keen on doing is barbecuing.
Yeah, it's that time of year.
It is that time of year, but yeah, being Scottish, you're kind of wary about it. But the thing is, I know nothing about grills. I know nothing about them. I know that they cook food. So I went online. I did what everybody does. I searched for grills. Now, this is one particular store that I searched on to see if I could get some inspiration. And okay, my search results bring back grills, but it doesn't tell me much about what they are or what the differences between them are. Furthermore, on the left-hand side, the filters aren't helping me much either, because the first filter that I see there is brand. But I don't know anything about grilling, so I honestly, I don't really know which brands are good brands, which brands are bad brands, So I don't really have much help here. If we compare that to going onto OBI's website, when I first typed in grill, I was a bit overwhelmed. 1,700 plus results. I thought, oh my God. But the first thing that strikes me here is, what type of grill are you looking for? This banner right across the top here. It makes it interactive. It simplifies things for me. It gives me a choice, and it says, okay, so well, tell us more. So I picked barbecue because I thought it looked kind of cool. Now that leads to another question. So you can see that it's already narrowed down to 80 search results instead of 1,700, which, thank God.
Yeah, it's much more manageable.
It's much more manageable. But I've also got another question to answer. How wide should your grill surface be? Now, again, I'm Scottish. I expect rain. I expect it to rain and rain off my barbecue, so I want to grill as much as possible in as short a period this time as possible. So I picked the bigger option. And that's narrowed it down to 45 search results. Clearly displayed, and I've got filters on the left-hand side which I've adapted to those changing search results. So I can now choose charcoal and wood, or just charcoal. I can choose my price category. I can choose my colour if that's important to me. So I've got a much better sense of what I want to buy, and I've got much more confidence in what I'm looking at here. That's what we know as guided selling. So it's taking that in-store experience of walking into a DIY or a home and garden store and saying, I want to buy a grill, but I don't know what is on the market. Help me out. And somebody saying, okay, well, what kind of thing do you want to do? What do you want to grill? How much space do you have? That sort of thing. So it increases trust, and it informs and involves the customer. So they're involved in their own product selection, but you're guiding them, you're informing them. So that is what helps turn indecisive visitors into active buyers. And that also reduces the return rate on products, because when they buy online and you've helped them out with your expertise, they're more sure of their purchase.
Okay, so that moves us on to our second challenge today, which is providing the best customer experience online. You want to keep your customers coming back, regardless of the price. I know many retailers are repeatedly discounting their products, but they're not necessarily seeing the results that they're expecting. Why is that?
Well, it's pretty simple. There is an increasing demand for online shopping from people who would traditionally shop in bricks and mortar stores. But that doesn't mean that their expectations have gone down any. In fact, their expectations are increasing. And I think probably everybody online today is familiar with the Walker study. If you're not familiar with it, it's a great study into customer insights. And it says that by the year 2020, customer experience will overtake price as a key brand differentiator. And this is customers demanding more and wanting more service, wanting a more personalised experience. 74% of customers still feel frustrated when website content doesn't match their expectations when they click onto a website. It's not personalised for them. It doesn't respond to the info that they're readily giving. And that frustrates them and they go elsewhere. So how do we respond to that and personalise for the customers? So another example for you here. I did exactly what most people do when they're looking for a product, and maybe they're searching a little bit vaguely. I use Google. I think everybody uses Google for their first port of call. So I typed in power tools. I thought that was a fairly reasonable search. Now, this is one of the first websites that came up. And what strikes you about it?
It's quite busy, and I'm not exactly sure where my attention is supposed to go.
Yeah, exactly. Do you see many power tools on there?
I mean, I see some of them, but maybe just from one brand, or I'm not seeing a variety or the different types.
Yeah, see, for me, you really, really sort of, you captured exactly my first impressions. It's busy. But there's only one thing that sort of relates to my search, which is this flash sale on a brand of power tools, which, again, if I'm typing power tools into Google, I probably know very little about what I'm looking for. Compare that to this. This is the second website that I clicked on. Now, this is so much more appealing to me as somebody who's shopping for power tools. For a start, right up at the top, I'm on a page that is dedicated to power tools. Then I've got drills and drivers, saws, combo kits, power tool accessories. So they're saying, what are you looking for? Tell us more. You've given us some information. Please give us more so that we can show you what you want to see. And then right at the top, you've got this lovely big campaign here that just simply states there's 35% off on certain tools and accessories. Maybe you want to get a good deal. It draws you in a lot more. It's more personalised. It's what I searched for. This is all we're doing. We're responding to what people search for rather than just taking them to a standard homepage, which is cluttered up with loads and loads of different offers, which can frustrate somebody when they're looking for something specific. So it's merchandising and personalisation. This is what we're really talking about. Merchandising is it's critical because your on-site merchandising is how you promote your products to your customers. It's how you show them what they want to see. And targeted merchandising based on their search terms, based on their clicks, etc. That's what makes it compelling. That's what makes it compelling for the customer and provides a much more memorable experience. When you respond to them and they can say, it was so easy to use, I got so much information, it was no problem. The focus shifts away from how much does it cost.
That seems like pretty good news for retailers, especially when they're sick and tired of discounting.
Well, it's a bit of a vicious circle. If you keep discounting, then you don't have as much to invest in improved services or new services for your customers. And yet your customers are demanding those services. So if you keep kind of punishing your own margins, you're not only cutting growth rates, but you're cutting your ability to serve your customers better in the future. So businesses need to make money. They need to make margin. And this is how we protect their margins a little bit.
Yeah, makes sense. So moving on to our next challenge, I think this is a big one for many retailers. So turning traffic into sales. Why do you think this is such an issue?
Well, I think Tom McKay here summed it up. That I chose this quote because it just really, really came straight to the point. So Tom McKay is the owner at CCW Tools, and he says, everybody talks about traffic, but the bottom line has to be conversions. Now, traffic is so important. You've got to get people onto your site, but it costs money. There's marketing investment that has to go into it, SEO investment that needs to go into it. You've got to invest in advertising campaigns on Google, on Facebook, on TV sometimes. You're driving people to your site, but then if they don't turn into customers, if they don't convert, then you're not making the ROI to justify all of that expenditure. And conversion rates are so low at the moment, 1.85% for 2019. Now, this isn't just limited to the DIY and home improvement market. This is across the board. And if you think about how many millions of e-commerce transactions are carried out every hour, to think that it's only accounting for 1.85% conversion rate, it's scary. So there's definitely room to improve that. So how do we do that? Well, this is a very good example of how not to do that. I think search is becoming increasingly important, and a good optimized search function on your website is critical. 75% of users use the search bar immediately, and they're 5 times more likely to convert. So you cannot be showing them no results pages. You've got to do everything you can to avoid it. We had a fairly simple search in this particular website for oval bathtub. And we got, sorry, we couldn't find any results for your search. There was no redirect page. There's nothing there to say maybe you were searching for and suggest me to content or to product. Nothing. Just suggestions that I'm going to ignore.
So I would just assume that they don't have what I'm looking for in this case.
Well, you'd be wrong. Because when we dug a little bit deeper into this particular website, we went into their categories and we filtered it down and we found these 5 products which are oval bathtubs. So why didn't the search show me this in the first place? I mean, they've all got offers on them as well. They're obviously keen to promote these. So how could I not find them by doing a really simple search? Now, this is another thing. I'm coming back to the bathtub thing here, but typos. I am a terrible typist. I admit it. So we tried this out just by searching for bathtub instead of bathtub. So the I's right next to the U, thought it made sense. Again, a no results page. They didn't take into account that I might not spell it correctly the first time. They've just told me how to improve my search. But again, there's no redirect pages. There's no suggestions. Did you mean or are you looking for, etc. Compare that to this one. You can see up in the search bar here, we've got bathtub again. However, it's showing me bathtubs. It's corrected it. But it hasn't corrected me. Can you see that there? There's no suggestion. But it's showing me not only what I want to see, but it's helping me decide what I want to see. So it's giving me all the categories, types of bathtub. And along the bottom there, if you just read, simplify your search, answer 3 quick questions to find the best bathtub for you. That's going back to a guided selling campaign. That's them using their expertise to help me as the person trying to buy a bathtub. So they're trying to narrow down my search. It's night and day from the slide previous. Helpful filters. This is a bit of a bugbear of mine because I can't stand it when the filters don't change. It's really, really, really irritating for me. This was a really simple search that we did looking for nails. And it took us to a nails and staples page, which is great. You know, you're on the right track there. You're responding to what the customer's saying. But I've got 407 items found, and the only way that I can filter it is by really basic generic filters. One of them is brand. The last time you or anyone you knew built something, did you remember them mentioning the brand of nails that they used? It's
absolutely no idea.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, that's a slightly irrelevant search for somebody who's looking for a specific type of nail. There's also price under $25, 346 results. So I'm not even narrowing it down that much with some of these filters. Compare that to this one. So this is another page, and we've got 150 products for the same search. We just typed in nails. But we've got different types of nails. We've got hardboard nails, lost head nails. You've also got length, diameter, the things that are probably going to be much more important than something like brand or price. So again, this is helping the customer get to where they need to go. And then that brings us on to predict and suggest. This is something that I think can be done so well and can provide so much value to the customer, but it can also be done really badly. So we went back to my grill search to try and find my grill. Now, I typed in GRIL, and the search suggestions on the left-hand side of this pop-up box came up, and they seem fairly relevant. Barbecue grills, charcoal grills, yeah, okay, that's all in line with what I'm looking for. So why is it showing me 3 product suggestions, which are all fridge freezers? I don't understand what that has to do with what I'm searching for. So I gave them the benefit of the doubt and I added the extra L. So now it's the full word, grill. But the product suggestions have changed to become more relevant, and yet they're still showing me accessories for something I do not yet own, for something I'm looking to buy. So I don't need a cover because I haven't bought the grill yet. So why is it not showing me grills? Again on OBI. So you can see that down the left-hand side, you've got very similar search suggestions when you type in grill. You've got gas grill, charcoal grill, etc. So it knows what I'm looking for. But look at the search suggestions here on the right-hand side of this pane. You've got grills. You've got exactly what I'm looking to see. They're all really highly rated by customers. That's also them promoting the good products to me. You've got categories. I can go into grills, grill accessories, whatever I'm looking for. But you've also got the counselor here, the advice, the grill finder. The grill finder, if you click into this, is brilliant. It's very, very, it's an expanded version of the guided selling we saw earlier on with more in-depth questions. So again, it's really helping me narrow down my search. And I've also got this content along the bottom here, inspiration and services, go to the grill inspiration. Well, that would be great for me because I really don't know what I'm doing. I just want to cook some food outside. This can help. It's featured content from an expert. And it's all featured before I've even completed my search. So I know I'm on the right track with this website. So you're going to have a broad spectrum, especially in DIY, home improvement, gardening. You're going to have people who have got really strong intent at one end. Now, these are your professionals or people who know exactly what they're looking for. They're going to use narrow search terms. They're going to search by product numbers, that sort of thing. So you have to avoid 0 results. Because if they are confident enough to use these narrow search terms and you give them a 0 results page, they're going to go elsewhere. At the other end, you've got people like me looking for inspiration. They're inspired to buy something, but they have no idea what to buy. Now, you have to be error tolerant for them because they will make spelling mistakes and they will type in vague search terms. So you have to be able to compensate for that lack of knowledge. And then in the middle, you've got to use your filters to be dynamic, to change based on what they search for, to use predictive suggest and related content to really help those inspired people become people with intent to buy.
Okay, great. So we're just going to take a really quick pause. We're about halfway through the webinar. We have lots of questions coming in. We really appreciate that. Please continue sending your questions throughout the webinar so that we can respond to them at the end. Hopefully we'll be able to respond to all of you. For those that we're not, Gordon will definitely get back to you on those.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll see my contact details on the screen there. If you've got any questions for me directly, please do email me, gordon.thompson@fact-finder.com, or you can call me directly. My direct line's up there as well. I would be really, really pleased to hear from you with your questions, comments, any insights that you would like to discuss with us.
Okay, so let's go to our 4th challenge, which is aligning sales to business objectives.
Okay, well, this is crucial. I think we've talked a lot about getting the customer what they want, but at the end of the day, the business has to have their own goals and they have their own expectations of what's going to be sold. Now, we've got a couple of quotes here from a couple of customers. So Jonathan Marsh from Slingsby said, site search has to display what customers want to see, but also what we want them to see, and that's crucial. And David Bushler from Globus said something similar. When a customer submits a query, we want the results to exactly match their expectations, but also be in line with our sales goals. It's true. You want to show the customer what they want to buy, but you also want them to see what you want to sell. So how do you merchandise your stock based on whether it's on offer, whether it has great margin, whether you have brilliant stock levels, you're able to get it shipped out straight away? It could be any one of these. So, again, I'm going to give you an example here. Back to the bathtub again. So we searched for oval bathtub, but this time we got results. Now, the first 4 results here are that's the top line of the search results. Now, I'm drawn to the one on the right because of the merchandising. Now, this is a kind of side point. If I look at this, I see a bathtub, I see it in situ, it looks great. I can imagine it in my own bathroom. The other 3 sort of look a little bit like soap dishes.
They definitely do.
Yeah, it's simply because there's no sense of scale or anything like that. So I'm most inspired to pick the one on the right-hand side because of the picture, because of the way it's merchandised to me. So imagine my disappointment when I go in and I find this. So in the top row, in the very first line of search results, a major retailer has a product that is not available. And there's no option to order or to, check other stores or to, like a delivery time frame or anything like that. So I have no idea if I'll ever be able to order this bathtub. So why is it taking up space in the prime real estate at the top of the search results? And that's key. The top of the search results is where your best products, the products that you want to sell, have to be. So you can prioritize your products to appear in searches based on, like we said, high margin. Maybe it's seasonal offers, best sellers, really highly rated by customers, or perhaps you've got same day availability or next day availability, that type of thing. And you can similarly deprioritize stuff to appear further down the search bar when it's poorly rated, when you don't have a product image, when it's often returned by customers or it's just out of stock. So it's about merchandising in accordance with your goals, not just what's relevant to the customer. And if you take a product from the 8th row of the search results and promote it to the top 2 rows, it's been shown that it has the same effect on sales of that product as discounting it by 21%. So I would ask you, what would you rather do? Discount by 21% or just move it up a few rows in your search results?
I know what I'd choose.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone.
So that brings us to our last challenge today, which is increasing mobile conversions. More and more customers, myself included, are switching to shop on mobile. But many retailers aren't keeping up with this trend.
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at the growth of mobile over the last 10 years, it's insane. If you think about the fact that the iPhone was launched in 2006, we're now 12, 13 years later, and the amount of shopping that goes on through mobile is incredible. And yet, we've got 50%, well, nearly 50%, I beg your pardon, 48% of customers finding it frustrating to search or buy products on a smartphone. And yet, by 2021, we're going to see almost 3/4 of all e-commerce transactions going through a mobile platform. So there's a serious disconnect. Retailers are not providing enough comfort for people who are using their mobiles. And in doing so, they're missing out on a huge market. So how do we optimize for mobile? I'll give you a couple of examples of good and bad. This example, it doesn't sit well with me because what they've done here is they've just tried to shrink down a homepage to fit it on a mobile screen. And by doing that, they've reduced the quality. They're also taking up space with irrelevant information there. So first and foremost, you've got featured products, and then you've got this tiny image, which has lost all kind of quality to it. So I don't even really know what I'm looking at here. You've also got irrelevant information where you could be putting in real USPs like next day delivery available or buy 2, get 1 free, whatever offers might be on in the product.
Or maybe even a second product on the same screen.
Exactly. I mean, why would you limit it to one product? Because people might be looking for alternatives. So for me, this is a bad example. But if we compare that to this one, this is a much nicer example. Exactly like you said, Jessica, there's 2 products on the screen. So already I think there's more choice. I don't have to scroll. I can see 2 products rather than just seeing one. The image quality is better. So they may have shrunk the images a little bit, but they've maintained the integrity of the image so you can still see what's going on. They have decluttered the page as well. So you can see just at the bottom there, peeking up over the bottom of the screen, there's an advert. They've gotten rid of that for the mobile. So they're not cluttering it up with unnecessary product. And the information is great that I can see right on the screen in front of me. So I can see that one product is discounted. I can see that it's got 5-star rating. I can see that I've got free 2-day shipping on that product. So I'm already much more likely to click on that product. And also, the filters are appearing at the top of the screen, but they're not impinging on the results. So you can open up your filters, you can filter your search, but it's not getting in the way of you seeing what you want to see. So, to optimize on mobile, you have to create a channel that really works for your mobile customers. You have to reduce the shopping hurdles. Forget about things like pop-ups and pop-in offers, because they obliterate the screen. They take away from what the customer wants to see. The smaller the display, the more important the product placement. This comes back to the ranking rules. Get what you want them to see as far up as humanly possible, because they're only going to see maybe 2 results, whereas on a desktop or a laptop, they would see maybe 8 or 12. And crucially, we come back to the search. Use the synonyms, use all the tricks in your arsenal to optimize your search to compensate for fat fingers, or to compensate for autocorrect, especially, because autocorrect, how many autocorrect fails do you have in a day?
You don't ask.
Yeah, it's probably not good to ask, but it's plenty. And that's going to happen on the website as well.
Okay, so bringing this all together, it's definitely clear that increasing conversions is all about improving the customer experience. You can drive revenue exactly where you want it by optimizing your online shop.
So yeah, just to summarize, it is all about customer experience. You're conveying your product expertise with guided selling. That's all about improving the customer experience and bringing the in-store experience online for your customers. Stop discounting, start merchandising, start personalizing. You're improving the experience and you're saving yourself the bother of having to constantly discount products just to get attention. Turn more traffic into sales using search optimization. Absolutely. You might have millions of people come to your website, but we have to convert them. And if they can't find what they're looking for, they will not convert. Control what's sold. Your business goals are so important. At the end of the day, that's what's making you money. That's what everybody's interested in at the top levels of the company. So you've got to look out for yourselves as well. And increase conversions by making your site mobile friendly. We've seen the mobile market. We know the mobile market. Everybody on here is aware of it because most of the people that are on here probably use it. So take advantage of that. Get your site mobile optimized and get capturing that marketplace.
So just before we continue, I'd like to do one more quick survey. So how many tools are you currently using to improve the search and navigation in your online shop? So we've discussed 5 today in our webinar. There's many solutions out there. So how many different solutions are you using? We'll give you a second to answer that for us. Okay, let's take a look at our results. All right, so the majority of people are saying that they use between 2 and 3 different tools.
Okay, well, that's not surprising. There's so much out there, and there's so many different ways that you can optimize your site that it doesn't surprise me that people are using, more than one tool, maybe up to 3 tools, maybe up to 4 or 5 in some cases. My concern about it is that optimized? Do they talk to each other? Do they share data? Are they able to? Is there an AI engine running there that's able to make the most of the results that are coming through from all of those different technologies from all of these different manufacturers? So it's interesting to see that. Before we move on, I just wanted to give you some actual results to kind of put this in context. And to give you a little bit more of a flavour of what you can achieve if you take on some of the tips that we've discussed today. Now, I'm going to show you 5 retailers. All 5 of them use error-tolerant search and optimized search. So that's a given. But they're also using other techniques as well in there that are helping them get these types of results. So first and foremost, Hobbycraft, what an incredible result. 170% increase in conversion rate, and that was purely by optimizing their search and improving their navigation, making it more intuitive for customers to find their products. And what an increase in conversion. You've got Globus Baumarkt there with 20% conversion increase. They also use search, but they also use targeted product placement to make sure that people coming onto their site, they were using the information they were given by those customers to show them what they were looking for. Then you've got OBI. OBI has 300 stores now connected to their online shop. And we've seen some great examples from them using the guided selling and the optimized search and navigation to really show their customers what they want to see. And with over 60,000 items in stock as well. So it's, they've done a really fantastic job and they're getting great results from that. In the gardening space, we've got Gertner Puchka. They've now won 2 years in a row Best Online Shop Award from Customer's Choice because they focused on UX. They focused on customer experience with optimized search, filter navigation, personalized sorting, and recommendations that learn through AI and feed really good recommendations back to their customers. That's incredible, and they've done so well to win those awards twice. And Arends and Sieberts, fantastic conversion rate increase, but what really intrigues me is the mobile sales conversion, because everything they did with the error-tolerant search and the merchandising and the filter navigation was translated into a mobile-friendly site as well. And the conversion rate there speaks for itself.
Yeah, that's truly impressive, I think.
Yeah, and one of the things that interests me most about the survey we did earlier is that people are using multiple tools to optimize their site, but with FactFinder, we're able to do all of those things that we've spoken about today and a few more things. We haven't talked about the intuitive back end. We haven't talked about the analytics tools or the potential for A/B testing that we're having as well. So there's really only one solution that does all of these things, and that is us. We can provide the guided selling campaigns. We can help you merchandise and personalize. We can provide search optimization, ranking rules, and we can make all of this mobile friendly. We also have customer success consulting teams that can really pick apart exactly what fits you and your business. So all of these things are available, but it's modular, and you pick what you want and you grow how you want to grow with FactFinder. So instead of having 3 or 4 tools that may or may not speak to each other, you've got one tool and all the data is shared through that tool. So it learns as it goes as well. So it's really, we're really proud of what we do here.
Definitely. So thank you very much, Gordon. So now we'd like to turn it over to you, our audience, with a Q&A session. We'd like to know what you want to know more about. If there's any other challenges that you've faced in e-commerce, please send those comments our way. Thank you to everyone who has already sent in their questions during the webinar. Feel free also to put in any questions now as well. So let's go to our first question. Let's take a look. Okay, so first question. Weather is often more important than seasonal shopping, and it changes much quicker. Can we re-optimize merchandising quickly to address this?
Well, yeah, using FactFinder, the simple answer, I guess, is yes, you can. Effectively, what you can do with FactFinder in the back end is you can set up campaigns so that they're ready to run. So the investment in time is really setting up the campaign in the first instance, but that's all down to you, because you can use your own creativity, you can use your own marketing department to design how you want the campaign to look, but one of the benefits of what we do is you don't need IT to implement that campaign. You can have that sat there ready to go, and if the weather changes and people start looking for barbecues or people start looking for sun loungers or whatever it might be, you can literally click, okay, go live. And it's live instantly. There is no delay. Like I said, we don't put overlays on your site. You have full control of the content and what it looks like. So really the only investment in time or the investment in sort of building the campaign is the creative part. So it's maybe 2 to 4 hours if it's a really big campaign, but then you can store that in FactFinder, have it ready to go, and the second you get the report of the 2-week heat wave that's coming, then you can launch your sunny day campaign, etc. So it's pretty easy to change it. It's pretty intuitive, and like I said, the big bonus is you don't need to rebuild your website or recode anything.
Okay. So we've run a little over time, but I think we can fit in one last question. Let's take a look. Okay, this is a good one. How does FactFinder personalization work? Is a lot of time necessary to cater to each user? It sounds unmanageable.
Yeah, I mean, well, when you put it that way, when you think about catering your website to every single user, then yeah, I would agree that sounds unmanageable. But again, it comes down to how intuitive the AI is. And with FactFinder, our whole algorithm is built on the principle of self-learning. So, however many modules you might have, they all talk to each other, they all learn from each other. So the personalization element of it, for example, product recommendations can be given on a personalized basis. So it can be users also bought or other people also viewed. And that is taken directly from the AI data. So you can give people a more personalized experience without doing too much in the background. There's the search page optimization as well. We talked about how your search results are displayed. We can set it so it's dynamic and it's based on customers' clicks. So if a customer searches for oak flooring or searches for wood flooring rather, and then they start clicking on oak, then what it'll do, the personalization engine will reorganize the search results dynamically so that oak flooring starts appearing higher up in the search results. What it means is that customers are getting what they want to see sort of pushed up in front of them in a dynamic fashion. And it's all done by AI. You don't have to have somebody sitting there doing that for you. So the investment in time is fairly minimal. You have control and you can link certain things and you can do certain things, but you can also let the AI really take control of the personalization for you.
Okay, great. Thank you. So unfortunately, we have run out of time. For all of those other questions you guys have sent in, I promise we're not ignoring you. Gordon will be happy to get back to you after the webinar and give you a more personal answer to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got my contact details again on the screen there. If you want to email me directly, please do. If you want to call me, please do. I'd love to hear from you, but I will make sure that everyone that's asked a question online here gets an answer over the coming week. Also, please feel free to check out www.fact-finder.com. It'll give you a full overview of what we do, how we do it, and what's on offer. But please do email me with your questions and comments. I'd love to hear from you.
Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us today, and thank you again, Gordon, for joining us. We really appreciate all of the insights you've given. Please, I'd like to ask a big favor of you all. If you could just leave us some feedback upon exiting, it only takes you a moment and it will help us continue to improve our webinars in the future. So, look forward to seeing you at our next webinar. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks again, everyone.